Ethan Marlowe walked through the narrow metallic corridors of the space station, the hum of the engines vibrating softly beneath his feet. The station orbited a newly discovered planet, a world with strange energy readings that had kept the scientists busy for months. For Ethan, a communications engineer, the assignment was routine: check the signal relays, fix any glitches, and report back. Simple work, nothing dangerous, or so he thought. He rounded a corner and paused. A faint light flickered from one of the high-security doors. It wasn't part of his usual inspection route, and he knew that only a few personnel were authorized inside. His curiosity got the better of him. Probably nothing, he muttered to himself, reaching for the keypad to check access. The screen blinked red. He frowned, no clearance, weird. And at the center of it all stood a figure. She was unlike any being he had ever seen. Her skin shimmered faintly, a pale silvery hue that seemed to change in the light. Her eyes were large, almond-shaped, and deep violet, filled with intelligence and calm authority. Her movements were graceful, precise, deliberate. Ethan froze. "You're in the wrong room," he said, his voice a mix of alarm and disbelief. The alien woman turned toward him, her expression unreadable at first. Then she smiled, a gentle, knowing smile. "No human," she said, her voice melodic but clear. "I'm exactly where I should be." He was not supposed to be here, and yet here she was, completely at ease in a place even he did not understand. The sense of danger prickled at the back of his neck, but another feeling, curiosity, kept him rooted to the spot. I'm Ethan Marlowe," he said cautiously, hoping that naming himself might make the situation less tense. "I work on the communication systems. This room, it's restricted. You shouldn't be here." "Of what?" "What are you doing here?" he asked, trying to sound firmer than he felt. "I am studying you," she replied simply, as if the statement needed no further explanation. "Studying humans, their choices, their reactions. There is much to learn and little time." "And why here on this station?" You are capable of understanding it, at least in part. That is why I am here." Her gaze softened slightly, but her posture remained strong, confident. "I observe, I guide, sometimes I intervene, but I do not destroy without reason." And now, in the midst of it, stood a being who was not only intelligent beyond human standards, but also completely unafraid. "Why me?" he asked. "I'm just an engineer. I don't even work in this part of the station." "And these qualities are worth observing." Ethan's training kicked in instantly. "What's happening?" he asked, moving toward the console instinctively. Viola's expression remained calm, but her eyes scanned the displays quickly. "Sabotage. Someone is interfering with the station's power grid. It is not severe yet, but it will escalate if not addressed." This was no longer a curiosity visit. This was a real emergency. He turned to her. "What should we do?" But the thought of failing and endangering the crew pushed him forward. "Okay," he said, gripping the console. "Let's do it." Their minds worked in tandem, human intuition paired with alien foresight. As the immediate threat subsided, Ethan leaned back, exhausted but exhilarated. I don't know what just happened," he admitted. "You stabilized the system faster than I expected," Viola said. Her smile was faint but genuine. "Human ingenuity is impressive when properly directed. You see solutions where others see only problems." He had faced something extraordinary and survived. More importantly, he had been recognized for his abilities, not as a weak human, but as a capable mind in a vast galaxy. Viola moved closer, her presence calm and commanding. "Ethan, humans are underestimated across the stars. Your species' potential is often ignored, but I see it, and I want to learn more." The idea that an alien being, so advanced and intelligent, would be interested in humans and specifically in him was overwhelming. "Learn more, like what?" he asked cautiously. "About humans, about your choices, about how you adapt under pressure," she said. "And perhaps about how you can influence what comes next in the galaxy." He had spent his life fixing machines, solving problems one at a time. Now he was part of something far larger, something that might change the way the galaxy saw humans. "I don't know if I can," he admitted honestly. "I'm just me." And sometimes, being human is exactly what the galaxy needs. As he left the lab later, escorted back to the maintenance corridors, Ethan couldn't stop thinking about her words. He glanced back once, catching her silhouette against the flickering holograms. She was watching him, and he knew she would return. Not as a threat, but as a guide, an observer, a partner in discovering what humans could truly achieve. And for the first time, Ethan felt that being in the wrong room was not a mistake at all. It was the beginning of something extraordinary. The station had settled into an uneasy quiet after the sabotage incident. Red lights no longer blinked, and the hum of machinery returned to a steady rhythm. Ethan Marlowe walked through the corridors, replaying the events in his mind. Every step felt heavier than usual, weighed down by the knowledge that what he had just experienced was far beyond the normal scope of his duties. He reached the maintenance bay, where a few human crew members were checking systems and repairing minor glitches. They greeted him, but Ethan barely acknowledged them. His thoughts were elsewhere, circling back to the alien woman, Viola. Why had she chosen him? Of all the people on the station, why pick a human engineer to observe and guide? And more importantly, what did she want from him in the long term? Ethan shook his head, trying to clear his thoughts. Focus on work, he told himself. Nothing here has changed yet. And it's not like I understand her motives anyway. By the time Ethan finished the last check on the communications relays, he realized that something fundamental had shifted inside him. He felt capable, not just as an engineer, but as someone who could make a difference. And he realized that the galaxy might be watching humans more closely than anyone had guessed. His thoughts were interrupted by a soft chime. Ethan glanced at his wrist console. A message blinked, labeled Viola Private Communication. Hesitating only for a moment, he tapped the screen. Meet me in Lab 7, urgent. The corridor leading to Lab 7 was empty, echoing with the low hum of the station's life support systems. Ethan approached the door and tapped his code. The panel acknowledged him immediately, and the door slid open smoothly. Viola was already inside. She was standing beside a large holographic display showing the station's structural schematics, layered with energy readings he could barely comprehend. Her violet eyes turned toward him as he entered, and she smiled faintly. "Ethan," she said, her voice calm. "Good, you came quickly. What's so urgent? What artifact?" But Viola's tone left no room for doubt. She spoke with authority, confidence, and certainty that left him with no choice but to believe her. "How can I help?" he asked, trying to keep his voice steady despite the racing of his heart. "You understand this station," she said. "Your human intuition allows you to see connections others might miss. I can guide you with alien algorithms, but your input is necessary to adapt them to the systems here." Viola's holographic displays floated above the floor, streaming data that Ethan could barely process. Yet she explained each step carefully, translating alien symbols into terms he could understand. When a particular calculation exceeded his comprehension, she guided him patiently, letting him contribute where he could. At first, Ethan felt overwhelmed. The sheer volume of information, the complexity of the systems, and the unknown elements of Viola's technology were dizzying. But gradually, he found his rhythm. His human problem-solving skills allowed him to anticipate potential weak points, and his quick thinking helped Viola optimize her alien algorithms. Hours passed without warning. The station's usual hum became a steady companion to their work. Ethan's mind, which had once been filled with doubt and fear, now thrummed with focus and purpose. He realized that working with Viola was not just about following instructions. It was about thinking, observing, and adapting in real time. Finally, Viola paused and regarded him. "You have done well, Ethan. Faster than I anticipated. Your species' creativity is remarkable." In a galaxy filled with beings far more advanced than humans, it was strange and comforting to hear acknowledgement of their worth. For the first time, he felt that humans were not weak or insignificant. They had potential that others, like Viola, could recognize and value. Their moment of calm was broken by another alert. A blinking red light indicated movement in a restricted section of the station. Ethan's pulse quickened. "Another threat?" he asked. "Yes," Viola said, her voice calm but sharp. "The individuals responsible for the sabotage are attempting to locate the artifact. They are efficient but not prepared for human ingenuity. Then let's make sure they don't succeed." Minutes later, the intruders appeared in a hallway on the surveillance feed. Ethan could see their strange uniforms, unfamiliar even in the context of interstellar organizations. They moved with purpose, but their path was predictable, and Viola's instructions allowed Ethan to anticipate each step. "Prepare the containment field," she instructed. "Use the station's structural panels to channel the energy. It will delay them. Now create a secondary diversion. Lead them toward the lower decks while I secure the artifact." By the time the intruders reached the lower decks, Ethan had already rerouted critical systems, trapping them temporarily. Viola appeared beside him, her presence steady and commanding. You see, she said quietly, your species' unpredictability is a weapon. The galaxy underestimates humans, but moments like this show their true potential. I just did what I could. You guided me. Ethan watched as Viola activated advanced containment fields, her knowledge of alien technology beyond anything he had imagined. Yet he felt a sense of partnership, not inferiority. Together, human ingenuity and alien foresight had prevented disaster. As the station settled once more, Ethan realized something profound. Humans might be young in the galaxy, but they were capable of greatness. They could adapt, improvise, and rise to challenges that no one expected them to face. Viola turned to him, her expression unreadable but her tone warm. Ethan, today has proven much, not just about the artifact or the station, but about humans themselves. You have shown courage, intelligence, and creativity, qualities rare in the universe. It feels good being recognized like that, especially by someone like you. He was just one human on one station, yet the recognition from Viola made him feel part of something far greater. He realized that being underestimated was no longer a weakness, it could be a strength. And as he looked around the glowing chamber at the floating holograms and alien technology, Ethan understood something even more profound. The galaxy was vast, full of dangers and wonders, but humans had a spark that could not be ignored. A spark that, with guidance and courage, could illuminate even the darkest corners of space. For the first time, he felt ready, not just as an engineer, but as a representative of humanity in a universe that had yet to see their full potential. The station had quieted, but Ethan Marlowe's mind refused to settle. He sat in the maintenance bay, staring at the flickering console lights as if they held answers to questions he didn't yet know how to ask. His encounter with Viola, the alien woman, had already changed everything he thought he knew about humans' place in the galaxy. But today he realized there was much more to understand about her, the station, and the mysterious artifact she protected. A soft chime echoed through the bay. Ethan glanced at his wrist console. Another private message from Viola. Meet me at the observation deck. Important. Her expression was unreadable, yet there was a quiet intensity about her. Ethan, she said without turning, the events today were only the beginning. There is much you do not know about this station, and even more you do not know about the galaxy. But I don't understand what all of this means yet. So the people who tried to sabotage the station, they want to use it to control others. Few species possess such unpredictability, and it can be a powerful force in the right hands. Do we just wait for them to come back? There are lessons you cannot gain from manuals or simulations. You must apply knowledge in real situations where risk and choice are present. Today you stabilized systems. Tomorrow you may face challenges that test your judgment in ways you cannot yet imagine. The thought of humans being watched, studied, and judged by advanced alien civilizations was intimidating. But at the same time he felt a spark of pride. Humans were not weak. They had the ability to rise to challenges, to adapt, and to prove their worth. Show me, he said finally, determination creeping into his voice. Show me what I need to know. Ethan's head swirled, but Viola's presence gave him confidence. This chamber monitors the artifact's activity, she explained. It also monitors external threats. From here, we can anticipate movements, intercept intrusions, and analyze anomalies across the galaxy. How do you make sense of all this? He asked. Observation, pattern recognition, and intuition, Viola replied. But patterns are not always predictable. That is where humans excel. Your ability to see possibilities that others cannot is invaluable, and today that skill saved the station. He was just one human, and yet the stakes were higher than anything he had ever imagined. Suddenly, a new alert flashed on one of the displays. Ethan leaned in, recognizing the symbol as a signature from the same group that had attempted the sabotage earlier. They are moving again, Viola said. Closer this time. They have learned from their previous failure. Their intent is clear. They will not stop until the artifact is theirs. Viola manipulated the holographic displays, analyzing the intruders' possible strategies. Ethan felt a strange sense of collaboration, not just with an alien being, but with someone who respected his mind as an equal partner. Hours passed as they worked tirelessly. Every adjustment Ethan made was matched by Viola's foresight. They created diversions, reinforced defenses, and prepared traps that relied on the intruders underestimating human ingenuity. As night approached, the intruders appeared again on the surveillance feed. Ethan held his breath. They moved with precision, but there was a rigidity to their movements that humans rarely displayed. Viola's gaze sharpened. "Now," she whispered. Ethan activated a series of barriers and emergency protocols. The intruders were forced to navigate through an unpredictable maze of doors, lights, and obstacles. Ethan's quick thinking caused them to hesitate, giving Viola time to secure the artifact. Minutes later, the intruders reached a dead end. Ethan watched them on the feed, their frustration evident even through the surveillance visuals. He felt a thrill of satisfaction. Human creativity had once again turned the tide. Viola placed a hand on the console, her expression approving. "You see, Ethan, humans are underestimated because others cannot predict their choices. That unpredictability is a strength, and today it has saved countless lives and preserved knowledge critical to the galaxy. I never thought humans could be that important." He understood that humans had a role to play in the galaxy, not just as survivors, but as innovators, problem solvers, and leaders. The intruders, realizing their plan had failed, retreated. Ethan and Viola monitored their departure until they were safely out of range. Then, silence returned to the station. Viola turned to him. "Today was a test, Ethan. Not just of systems or strategy, but of human spirit. And you have proven that humans are capable of rising to challenges that even the galaxy underestimates. And there will be more. The galaxy is vast, full of challenges, threats, and opportunities. But humans who embrace their creativity, courage, and adaptability will find a place among the stars." Humans had a chance to rise, to prove themselves, and to shape the galaxy in ways that others could not. And for the first time, he felt that he, personally, was part of that journey. "Tomorrow," he said quietly, "we'll be ready for whatever comes next. Tomorrow, and every day after, humans will continue to show the galaxy their worth. And you will be at the forefront of that discovery." And humans, unpredictable and ingenious, had the power to change the course of events in ways no one had expected. For the first time, he felt the weight of possibility. And he knew that alongside Viola, alongside guidance, and alongside his own human ingenuity, he could rise to meet any challenge the galaxy presented. The station had quieted once more, but Ethan Marlowe felt no rest in his bones. He moved through the corridors with a heightened awareness, listening to the hum of machinery, the faint vibrations under his feet, and the occasional hiss of pressurized doors. Every sound reminded him that the intruders who had attempted to steal the artifact could return at any moment. He met Viola in the central control hub. The alien woman's violet eyes scanned the displays, her presence calm yet commanding. "Ethan, they will attempt another breach," she said. "This time they will come prepared. They have learned from their previous failure." He had learned much from Viola about alien technology, holographic systems, and predictive algorithms. But he also understood that his greatest strength lay not in knowledge alone, but in the ability to improvise, to adapt, and to think in ways the intruders could not predict. The hours that followed were intense. Ethan moved from panel to panel, rerouting power, reinforcing barriers, and creating secondary fail-safes. Viola guided him through alien code and defensive algorithms, translating complex sequences into instructions he could understand. Together, they formed a partnership of human intuition and alien foresight. Finally, the intruders appeared on the surveillance feed. Their approach was methodical, almost mechanical, but Ethan noticed a rigidity in their movements that told him they relied heavily on patterns and routines. "They are predictable," Ethan said, leaning toward the console. "If we can disrupt their rhythm, we can gain the advantage. Your improvisation will be key." Viola monitored the intruders' reactions in real time. "They hesitate," she observed. "Your unpredictability is working. Continue." Human ingenuity had turned the tide once again, but Viola's expression remained focused. "This is only the first wave. They will adapt. Be prepared for rapid changes." He activated emergency lighting to create false corridors, leading the intruders away from the artifact chamber. Viola manipulated energy fields to block key access points, while Ethan monitored alternative routes to ensure they remained trapped. The intruders, frustrated and disoriented, attempted to bypass the obstacles, but Ethan's quick thinking forced them into dead ends. Their weapons activated, but the energy fields prevented them from reaching the artifact. Every move Ethan made was unpredictable, and every adaptation he implemented exploited the intruders' reliance on patterns. You are performing beyond expectations, Viola said, her tone calm but approving. Human adaptability is remarkable. Doors slammed shut, corridors shifted, and energy barriers activated at precisely the right moments. The intruders found themselves cornered, forced to retreat. Ethan's heart pounded, but he maintained focus. Every decision, every action was critical. One misstep could allow the intruders to reach the artifact, but human creativity combined with Viola's foresight had kept them at bay. Finally, the intruders withdrew, leaving the station in temporary peace. Ethan slumped in his chair, exhaustion washing over him. "We did it," he said, barely above a whisper. Viola's expression softened. "Yes, Ethan, today humans have proven their value, not through strength alone, but through ingenuity, adaptability, and courage." For the first time, he understood that being underestimated was not a weakness. Humans had the ability to think differently, to improvise, and to turn the unexpected into an advantage. Viola moved closer, her gaze steady. "Ethan, your actions today have changed my understanding of your species. Humans are not only capable of survival, they are capable of shaping events, influencing outcomes, and protecting knowledge critical to the galaxy. The galaxy is vast, and threats are everywhere. But humans who embrace their creativity, courage, and adaptability will always find a place among the stars." And he personally had proven that humans could stand alongside advanced civilizations and make a difference. "Tomorrow," he said quietly, "we'll be ready for whatever comes next. You will be at the forefront of that discovery." For the first time, he realized that humans were not merely observers of the universe. They could be participants, innovators, and protectors of knowledge beyond comprehension. He turned to Viola. "I want to learn more. I want to understand everything I can so I can help humans reach their potential. But remember, knowledge is only valuable when applied. You must continue to adapt, to think, and to act. The galaxy respects action, ingenuity, and courage above all else." As the station's lights dimmed for the night cycle, Ethan and Viola stood side by side, watching the planet below. The intruders had retreated, but the galaxy was full of unknowns. And humans, unpredictable and inventive, had the power to face those unknowns with courage and intelligence. For the first time, Ethan felt truly part of something greater. Humans were underestimated, yes, but they were capable of greatness. And alongside Viola, with guidance, partnership, and his own ingenuity, he knew they could face whatever the universe threw at them. The hum of the station became a steady companion, a reminder of both challenge and opportunity. Ethan understood now that being in the wrong room had been no accident. It had been the start of something extraordinary. And humanity, unpredictable and ingenious, had a chance to rise among the stars, to protect knowledge, and to prove that even a single human could make a difference in the vastness of space. The station entered a calm cycle for the first time in days. The lights softened, the alarms stayed silent, and the steady hum of machinery felt almost peaceful. Ethan Marlowe stood near the observation window, looking out at the endless stars. He felt tired, but it was a good kind of tired, the kind that comes after standing firm when it matters most. Behind him, Viola approached quietly. "The intruders have fully withdrawn," she said. "Their signals are fading beyond the system's edge." They observed how this station responded, how defenses adapted, and most importantly, how a human led those adaptations. Ethan had always thought of humanity as small, still learning, still catching up. But now advanced civilizations were watching humans not with pity, but with interest. They walked together toward the artifact chamber. The room glowed softly, the containment field steady and strong. The artifact floated in the center, silent but powerful, a symbol of knowledge that could shape civilizations. "You protected it," Viola said. "But more than that, you showed restraint. You used creativity instead of force. Many species would have chosen destruction. Humans mess up sometimes, but we learn. But the council I represent will now make a decision about humanity. Not because they are perfect, but because they are adaptable, curious, and capable of choosing cooperation over domination. You trusted instead of fearing the unknown." A few human officers watched from a distance, uncertain but respectful. "You're leaving," Ethan said. "Yes," Viola replied, "but not disappearing. Growth comes with responsibility." The station returned to routine operations, but nothing felt the same. Ethan noticed subtle changes. Engineers asked for his input more often. Command listened when he spoke. Humans began to trust their own instincts a little more. Then the message arrived, a formal transmission encrypted and verified addressed to Earth. The Galactic Council requested contact. Ethan stood in the communications room as the message played again and again. Humans were being invited, not conquered, not tested, but invited. Humanity had been noticed. Weeks later, Ethan watched Earth from orbit, blue, fragile, and full of life. He thought of everything humans had survived, mistakes, conflicts, failures, and how they kept moving forward anyway. Viola's words echoed in his mind. Unpredictable, creative, adaptable, human. As preparations began for humanity's first official meeting with the wider galaxy, Ethan understood something deeply important. Humans did not need to be the strongest species. They did not need the most advanced weapons. They needed to be themselves. The galaxy was vast and dangerous, but it was also full of possibility. And humans, once overlooked, now stood at the edge of something extraordinary, not because they demanded a place among the stars, but because they earned it. And somewhere far beyond the station, Viola watched the signals from Earth with quiet satisfaction. Humanity had arrived, not as conquerors, not as victims, but as equals.